That could be it. Maybe I want him as a friend. Maybe he's not giving me a belly rub yet. Happy about that.
Yeah, we'll go with it. Okay, we can work that. So I'm keeping him at a distance. I'm just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
you're cautious side.
Works for me. Barry, you want to go next?
Well, I'm coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Jeterum. I don't know if I like that name though. I might change it at some point, but for now we can call me Jeterum.
You're human.
Okay.
I am a human. I am a mage. And what's the name of the guild? Is it Scar?
SCAR is an acronym that I now have to remember what it's for because it's long and wordy. That's why I made an acronym, which was an accident. I didn't sit down with the acronym and try and build a name out of it, which is really cool. Usually I have to do that. The Sacrosanct College for Retrieval and Retention.
All right. So I'm coming to, what's the town?
Birchvale.
Birchvale. Okay. So I'm heading to Birchville because I'm going on behalf of the academy or the guild, and I'm going there to investigate. Well, two things really. One for my own personal interest. I'm a bit of a student of politics or political economy, and I'm interested in this so-called utopian town. I'm very skeptical of that, or at least I want to find out, you know, how are they functioning? How come there's no fighting or no? Is like everyone just get along?
Yeah, it does sound kind of absurd, doesn't it?
Yeah. And there's a big owlbear there giving people hugs, I'm assuming, and
No one's attempting to kill it, right?
all right, so I'm going there just out of my own curiosity, but I'm also going there as part of my studies and investigating some, what are the unknown disturbances in this forest surrounding the town?
There are some rumors surrounding the forests, right? The townsfolk talk about weird noises coming out of the forest, trees that groan when there's no wind, grass that turns black even though there's enough food and rain.
Right, so I'm going to check out if there's a magical element to what's happening in the woods, because my college, we seek out magic that is not sourced from us. And if I understand correctly, we try to get rid of that, right?
Acquire or eliminate, yes.
Okay, acquire or
SCAR has
eliminate.
gone out of their way to eliminate the competition
Right.
by whatever means are necessary at the time.
And I guess I'm also looking to see if that has anything to do with the so-called utopian feel of the town, or if that has a magical relationship.
I love how you looked at a bubble of people getting along and went, it ain't right.
Well, how long has this town been like that for? Is it well known, or?
Yeah, it's kind of unusual. So people talk about it all over the place. Hey, and lots of people think it's not true. Like it's wishful thinking. Hey, no way 100 people get along all the time.
All right.
In case I forgot to say that, Branchvale is, and I think I did, Birchvale is a tiny little town. It's like 100 people.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that small.
No, I knew it was new. I knew there wasn't much grudges. I didn't know it was tiny.
The world is large. Birchvale is tiny. Like a hamlet is probably a more accurate word. There aren't even that many buildings in it.
Okay.
And there's no weapons or anything there, like you're not allowed to walk around armed?
Oh, no. In the walled city of Shimmer, you can't have weapons or anything.
Okay, right.
Oakvale, you can bring your weapons, just no one's gonna probably draw them in anger, per se. But I imagine that everyone's armed. I mean, just because you trust your neighbor doesn't mean you trust what's coming out of the woods.
Yeah.
Like a mage.
Right, like a mage who looked at this and went,
Okay, so I would say I'm sitting in the inn, and I notice someone that walks in, moseys in from I would say it's probably right off the weather-worn path. And so I would see somebody new come into the inn, so I call over the server and ask him to offer him an ale.
Okay.
I gladly receive the
There
ale.
you go.
So Barry and Jason, your characters know each other. Is that the idea?
We do now.
We're about to.
Okay. I guess I'm understood. We've gone from discussing how we know each other to actual playing. Is that the idea?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh no, that's fine. I just didn't know if that's what we just did, and I don't know. My brain didn't switch gears fast enough. We can do that though.
Yeah,
That
sure.
works for me. Okay, sure, yeah. So you all find yourselves in the small town of Birchvale. Excuse me. I just finished playing Fable the other day again, and they have a little tiny town called Oakvale. Sorry about that. So you find yourselves in a little tiny town of Birchvale. Everybody knows everybody, and the only two buildings where everybody meets, as a general rule, are the tavern and the house on the home on the hill, which is a giant building on a hill, where everybody gathers for what is basically prayer, except there's not any specific prayers. People just kind of, it's more like come to get your neighbor, everybody gets along. Like dinner with the family, except the family is the town.
There's some weird midsummer bullshit happening here.
Everyone's so
Look around for
Barry's the new
somebody with a giant fucking mallet.
Jitterum is the newest member, right? You've been here the least amount of time, a week or so, right?
What?
Who?
Barry's character, Jitarum.
Oh.
Did I say that?
Oh yeah, no, Jitarum.
Jitarum. Okay.
Just call me Jit.
Jit works for me.
All right, I thought I just kind of walked into the town and went straight to the tavern.
Okay. Oh, so
And,
we're talking real time. You've been here like 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm going to the tavern because I got to eat, and now I'm going to drink this beer that this elf bought me, and I'm probably going to go over and have a chat with the elf, and I guess I got to find lodgings and sort of, yeah, take it from there.
Sounds good. Nordir, do you pitch anything specific or?
I just ask. Well, I guess first off, I didn't mean to cut everybody else off. As far as
No,
Jared
go on.
and Nathan. Okay. I didn't want to cut anybody off.
That's okay. I can pick up the backstory in the chat or on Facebook after or whatever.
Okay. So yeah, I'd have him come over and just chat him up and ask what brings you this way.
Basically, I'm just coming here out of curiosity. Hear a lot about this town, and its utopian existence.
So as far as the town goes, I guess a little more background is like everybody like freakishly like nice and happy all the time, or
No, it's not like they've all got blank stares and they've been, corrupted by magic brownies or something. It's
Okay.
not like that. They're still their everyday selves. They just, no one ever argues enough that they yell or scream or stab each other.
Okay.
People argue, they're like, hey, well, I mean, I don't really want to pay 40 gold for that. That's a 30 gold thing. But no one flares up enough defensively that it becomes a problem.
Is it because of their belief in whatever they worship on the hill?
You having been here for months, you haven't heard anybody mention the word worship, nor a specific entity of any kind.
Okay.
They just all seem to just not care enough to argue.
Basically just tightwads that don't want to pay gold for breaking the law.
Pretty much. You haven't seen any like King's Guard or anything. They don't have any legal presence worth mentioning.
Okay. All right.
Would you find it weird that I'm interested in that? Like your character? You
No,
being
because
thief?
it. I came here on a whim as well, not really knowing much about this city, and this entire time I've been trying to take it in and understand the city in different ways, trying to find cracks where I can to see what drives these people.
Quick interjection. Nathan, where is your character at this moment?
For lack of anything more, I'm up near the. They go somewhere for prayers.
Right. There's a larger building that holds almost everyone in the town at a time, and those that don't fit on the giant yard outside, collectively called House on the Hill.
And how far? I mean, I'm sure it's like a stone's throw from the tavern. This isn't like,
Pretty much, yeah. You could throw rocks at the tavern wall from the yard of House on the Hill.
So I'm just kind of walking around the city. I'm staying at the tavern.
Okay.
Town. I mean, I'm assuming that's the only place I can stay, unless I
You would be right about that.
bivouac outside the city limits. But I'm at the prayer center.
Okay. I'll get back to you in a second. I'm just I don't want to interrupt you guys' RP. I just want to make sure I know where everybody else is in the town.
Well, I mean, that's helpful.
Gsan,
If I've been here that long, then I would probably know Nathan's character then. Or at least
I mean, whether you,
He buys strangers beer, so
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
right.
yeah.
Whether
Yeah,
you know each other is kind of up to him.
Right.
But you've certainly met him.
Mhm. Or know of him. So, but what intrigues me about Git, right?
Jit.
Jit, me?
Git.
Yeah. Yes.
I take it that you probably, I guess, do they have tomes? How does that work for mages here? Do they have like grimoire or anything that they carry with them?
Oh, you're asking me. I kind of looked at the world like magic spells are written down or kept in your brain, or really whatever works for you. Magic spells they're not prayers, so they don't really stick in. Mechanically, they're the same thing, except one comes from in a divine character, the power is not yours, and in an arcane character, the power is yours. It comes from you. But mechanically, I've always kind of treated them as the same thing.
Okay.
What's a Bible except a divine prayer book? One of my favorite clerics I've ever seen used his shield was his prayer book. It was just that big, and he covered the front of it with metal, and he bashed people to death with it.
Now, did I mention, I just said the college, right? I didn't go into the details about,
Previously, you said the word college, but whether or not you actually let it slip that you're a mage or you said mage's college is really up to you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just, indifferent whether or not you know. I just don't think I really look like a mage. I think, I got a hunting bow, and from, my days in D&D, only elven mages ever had bows, but and I got I'm in pretty good shape too. I'm not a sickly, weakly one. Although I'm not the wisest.
a frail.
I got, I'm pretty high dex. I could probably do some gymnastics. You buy me another beer.
Hermes, you're in the tavern getting belly rubs, is that right? Or are you somewhere else?
I'm pestering the barmaid to try and give me some beer or food. Either one,
Okay.
basically.
I'll get back to you in a second. Gsan, where am I? Do I pronounce the S in that name, Gerard?
Gsan, yeah.
Gsan, where are you in the town right now?
I'm traveling to the town.
Okay. Where from?
From the ocean.
Okay. Let's say you arrive in the town. Yeah, I imagine you'll know when, but I'm good. There's going to be a moment coming up, and I imagine you'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
How safe are the roads? Like, he's come on his own? Is he with the caravan? Is he just kind of trucking along 2 days journey from the sea?
He would have been. whether or not you traveled with a caravan is up to you, but the roads would be safe enough for you to travel on your own.
Okay.
There is almost no strife of any kind for miles around the town of Rivershield because the elves simply don't tolerate it. Anything that could possibly threaten their perfect, glorious town is, eradicated.
So where's the forest at?
There are forests everywhere, but the forest in relation to Birchvale is all around it. It's kind of built into the clearing in the woods. Gsan will have to walk through that road to get to the town.
Mm-hmm. So where's the
Gerard,
forest that has the strange noises?
Say again?
Where's the forest that has the strange noises and?
That is the one outside of Birchvale.
Okay.
You can actually see it from the town edge. Like, the town edge is defined by the woods.
Okay.
There's a road that comes up from the south into the middle of the town and then goes out the north in the same direction, kind of a straight line that cuts through the town and back into the woods.
Okay. What's to the
You've
north?
been here for... Say again?
What's to the north then?
What's to the north? Where did you come from? Well, actually, I guess I know where you came from.
South.
That would have been from the south. Has your character been beyond that point?
I would say no.
Okay. Would your character have any reason to already know what's beyond that point?
Nope. We'll just leave it
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Can I just ask, does Gsan have a name of like a town he grew up in?
Workslow.
Borksville?
Yeah.
This is Borgsville is across the sea.
Yes, across the sea. It's not
Excellent.
exactly.
So while Nordir and Jit are talking in the tavern, and Hermes is busy attempting to accost a woman to either feed him or drink him, right? And Nathan's unnamed zealot character is outside. What exactly are you doing? Studying the building, trying to get people to open up to you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the architecture. I'm talking to somebody if there's somebody there.
Okay. There's always somebody going in and out. One of the NPCs, rather, one of the people, you kind of catch the eye of, and he always loves to talk to you when you poke him, right? He loves to talk about how wonderful and happy the people are. And he goes, "Oh, it's you again."
Yes, I'm just poking around. Like to see how things are sorted about. Tell me about the are there any like inscriptions or writing on the building?
The building itself is pretty plain. It's a large dome, which is the most immediately interesting thing about it, that it's not square or anything like that. And it's really, you've been inside a couple of times. Inside it's a big open space with throw pillows. There's no pews or central altar or anything. And the walls, you noticed before that they were really, really heavy. Like they could probably take a cannon shell. They're real durable. The door, there's only one way in and one way out. There's two big opening gates with a wooden bar that goes across the back and everything. They're humongous.
And what's this guy's name that I'm talking to? I've met him before.
Lars, he's the barkeeper.
Lars. Teach me one of your prayers, Lars. What exactly do you do in there?
Well, I feed people, I drink people, which is to say I give people drink. I said that incorrectly. And I listen to their problems. We talk, we think, we are.
And this is what you pray in the building?
No. Other people have prayer. We just exist. Prayer requires a higher being.
And so what do you do in the mess hall there, the temple that you've got, which isn't a temple?
No, it's absolutely not a temple. We sit and we talk. There's really no magic to it. We just commiserate.
Commiserate? What do you have to commiserate about. Everything's so peaceful here.
Recently, the threat of darkness in the woods. We don't deal well with fear. In that we have no experience with it.
With fear. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's what I said, right.
And why have you rejected the truths of the other gods? The Trinity.
Rejection suggests that they came up and we turned them down. That's not what happened. It's not so much that they've appeared and we went, no, I'm good. That's not really what happened. It hasn't come up. You're free to have your beliefs and coexist here. That's fine. As you're having this discussion, you see and hear, right, because the woods aren't that far from you. You actually watch 6 of the trees turn black and fall over. The town people go insane and start pouring towards the dome.
What happens after
a bunch of the trees just rot in an instant, and what's left of them falls into the grass, which is now black and crunchy. A bunch of the townsfolk see that, freak out, and start running towards the temple.
I'm going to go into the dome as well.
Okay. Those of you in the tavern, some of the townsfolk saw that through the windows and are also fleeing towards the tavern. Are fleeing towards the house on the hill.
Did they say anything before they went out?
They screamed and said, "We'll all be safe in there from whatever it is." You're not aware of it because you've only been there for like right now. But the rest of you, with the exception of Gsan, know that the house on the hill is treated as kind of a security bunker in case of emergency and a place of great reverence. They believe that their togetherness, combined with the strength of the walls, will keep them safe from absolutely anything. Though they've never actually had to test that theory.
Okay. Well,
I look at him and say, "This may be interesting." And I stand up and finish the rest of my ale, and out the door we go.
What do you do, Hermes?
I suppose I heard something about forest and woods and things, so I sort of turned around and shot out with the other guys.
Okay. Gsan, I'm getting to you, I promise. As you tear up the hill toward kind of bumbling between the elbows and the shoulders of all the other people, you make it into the building. And would 3 of you make perception checks for me?
Like any 3 or?
Any 3 of you, whichever 3 of you want to. It makes no difference to me. You won't find the perception skill on your character sheet. Let's call that a wisdom roll.
9.
Is that roll, or do you add something to it?
If you have proficiency in will saves, the warriors among you have bonuses.
Well, I have proficiency in wisdom.
I think I actually haven't.
So it would be 11.
I rolled an 18.
Would this
proficiency? You rolled an 18. Excellent. What, Hermes?
Would this count as tracking, hunting, or monster info?
It would not.
Nope. So I don't get. So it's just a straight 19.
Okay, just a straight 19.
Just a straight 19. Yeah.
All right, I rolled a 20.
Nice. A natural 20?
Yep.
Excellent. Then I have a card for you.
It's good luck for this campaign.
No joke.
All right. Barry, that was you, right? That rolled the 20?
Me? Jit. Yeah, it was Jit. Jit, who's got a 7 in wisdom.
Give me just a second. Barry, I just sent you a message in the chat.
All right.
Feel free to use that anytime you want, including on someone else's turn.
All right.
Or in the middle of my turn. You can share that with the group or not. That's how come I send it privately. Choice is yours. I'll give one of those to everybody every time they roll a natural 20.
Oh, cool.
There are
All right, I got it now. Okay.
there are a whole bunch of them. I plug them into a generator so I can draw them at random without being able to give you actual cards. Because in my house,
Right.
those are actual cards. So as you tear up the hill with the people and you kind of get temporarily overwhelmed by the 50, 60, 80 people that are freaking out right now, the rest of them are asleep or they didn't notice and they'll notice shortly. You see, those of you who made the save see 2 giant rose bushes with limbs march out of the tree line and whip barbs at everybody, and barbs the size of men sink into the side of the buildings.
Into the dome building or all the building?
Into the buildings below on the hill. They're at the
Barbs
base of
the
the hill.
size of men, like 6-foot long javelins.
Yeah, barbs the size of men sink into the building walls and pretty much annihilate them.
How's the tavern?
Yeah.
Not doing very well.
All right.
Oh, I almost forgot. What do you do?
So these are just giant bushes?
Giant rose bushes. They are the size of a small building.
Mm.
Like a watershed.
Shit my pants.
Did you notice that as well as me?
Yeah, is he the only one that saw this or everybody?
I kind of rolled for the party, so if one of you made it, you all noticed. But if that doesn't work for you, we can.
That's something hard to miss. I think.
Right. That's kind of my argument. Right, it would be kind of hard to miss.
So
The only
I'm
reason I
in
had
the
you roll
building.
dice at all. Say that again.
I'm in the building, and these barbs hit the building, and they destroyed the wall.
No, they
No,
don't
because you're in the house on the hill. The barbs, you do feel them strike the wall, and they sink into the wall, probably a couple of inches. So they come in, and you see them kind of perforate the wall like a nail gun. But the wall stays standing up. The buildings, if you were outside, you would have seen that some of the lower buildings were pretty much totaled. But the walls of the house on the hill put up with the attack pretty well.
Okay,
Probably
so
not all day, though.
we're running up the hill.
Hmm.
And on the hill, there's a couple of rose bushes hitting the dome, and there's some behind us hitting other
Yes.
buildings. Okay.
Yes. You
How
see
many?
in your fervor between the people, right? Between your movement and the scattering people makes it hard to count deliberately,
Mhm.
but not that hard. They're giant rose bushes. There are 5 of them.
Okay.
2 on the hill kind of level with you and 3 lower down.
Are these rose bushes still moving around and attacking things, or have they stopped for the time being?
They've perforated the buildings and they've become sort of stationary. If they weren't so big, they would just look like normal rose bushes. But who knows what they're going to do next?
So I grab Lars, and I'm like, "Where are your defenders?"
Lars, as he attempts to open his mouth and answer you, has passed out from fear.
Well, I'm running to the opening of the building to just see out. Like, are there any soldiers? Is there any sort of defense of this city? Is there anyone
You've been here for a
coming
week or
to
two?
their aid?
Right. You've been here for a week or two. You're aware that they have no defenders of any kind.
Well,
They were working on getting rid of all of their weapons because Lars had kind of convinced the people that the reason that the woods were quaky and shaky was because he thought that they had lost faith or they wouldn't have weapons at all. He argued that their ability to have peace was reliant on the removal of their weapons, and that they refused to do that caused the woods to go nuts. That sounds absolutely unrealistic, but that was his pitch.
So as we're running up, I'm guessing me, Barry, and Hermes. Yeah, Hermes. We're all kind of running up in the middle of the group, kind of close together.
Mm-hmm.
Would I see any torches or open flame or anything anywhere?
On the outside of the tavern is a bonfire that they pretty much always keep lit. It's the only source of outside light in the town.
Is it daytime?
It is daytime. I'm sorry, I forgot to cover that. Yes, it's like 11:30 in the afternoon.
So would the bonfire be burning?
Yes. Not right now. It's not burning for light so much as people's entertainment. If there wasn't a rosebush attack, they would all be dancing around it relatively drunk.
Okay. How far are we from that bonfire?
As you run up the hill, you'll run past it, but even when you get to the top of the hill, you can't be more than 100 feet from it.
Okay. Then I just shout to the crowd, bushes burn!
Do you want to make a roll for that to see if you kind of convince them, or would you rather role play that out?
I'll roll for it.
Sure, yeah.
How many people listen to an elf they don't know?
The guy who gives beers to everyone.
Hey, yeah!
Well, there's that. Right.
Listen to him.
Let's call that a circumstantial bonus of +1.
Oh, well, shit. That's a 9.
9, okay. The default
I'm very
DC
convincing.
in 5 Torches Deep is 11. Almost always you'll be rolling to beat an 11. Punch the dragon in the teeth, 11. Pick the lock, 11.
And everybody just
Um,
looks at
so-
me like I'm crazy.
Right, so with the modifier, you got a 9?
Yeah.
Okay, bunch of people kind of look at you and blink a couple of times, and they stop screaming, and then they start screaming again and finish running up a hill.
Do I hear him?
Oh yeah. I assume you yelled that pretty loud.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a hero, man. I'm running to Nordiri or
Nordir.
and I see that there's somebody who's willing to actually defend themselves. I like to bring the hammer of the tinker down on evil, so I'm running to Nordir to join the fight.
Okay, you catch up with Nordir. Are you staying by the bonfire? Is that the idea?
I would definitely be running towards the bonfire at this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm right on your heels.
I could pick up and try to chunk.
Hey, the two of you kind of convene next to the bonfire. Jit and Hermes, where are you in regards to this?
I'm heading for the bonfire as well.
Okay.
Unfortunately, due to my past, I'm giving that bonfire a wide berth.
I see.
Is there any
that
kind of
seems
like
fair.
cart or like carriage, anything that would have wheels on it? That's
There are
nearby?
several carriages of varying sizes, everything from tiny rickshaws that people pull behind their backs to carts that would hold 10 grown men darted around the town. The town itself is mostly self-sufficient, but they don't have a large farm population. So when they want food and apples and that kind of thing, they get them from other people.
So the carriages are like for carrying people. They're not necessarily like for like hay or manure or.
You find there are a couple of carts that would contain, they don't have seats in them, that you could hold large supplies of fruits and vegetables or hay in. Yeah.
So I'm going to say something like, well met, elf friend, just to cheese it up. It looks like these so-called peaceful people don't have much to protect them. What if we put some of this bonfire in one of these carts and ran it toward those fell-looking bushes?
I'll glance around and say, not a bad idea.
If we can stay behind them, we might be able to keep from getting impaled.
This is very true.
I definitely like that line of thinking.
My character is aware of his 5 hit points of life.
No shit, mine is
How,
good.
how exactly you're going to get, I love how you said that. How are we going to get some of the bonfire into the cart?
Is there any like pitchforks or shovels or any tools?
Oh,
handy?
yeah.
I have a shovel in my back, a folding shovel.
Nice.
I think you was trying to sell me one of them the other day.
I rolled and I got it, and now I'm using it.
The man comes prepared.
It's for when I have to go dump in the woods, you know? I carry it with me
Nice.
everywhere.
Got to clean up your mess. Right?
Exactly.
So I want to start taking like logs that are sort of half burning and throwing them into one of the carts while sort of trying to stay out of line of sight of one of these bushes.
Okay. As soon as you put your hands on, you succeed in doing that, but as soon as you put your hands on the logs, I imagine you're keeping your eyes on the rose bushes.
Yes.
Okay. As soon as you start kind of looking like you're going to play with fire, the rose bushes start to vibrate a lot, and you're pretty sure that whatever it is that they're doing, they'll be done doing in 3 rounds.
Okay.
You're watching those. They don't have any thorns on them right now, but you're watching new thorns kind of grow into them. An educated guess is that they're going to fire at you
Yes.
once they're full size.
I get it. So we've got 3 rounds to get something to them before they can return fire.
And ideally back to cover again.
That's probably not a bad plan, right?
Is there cover really close to us? Like another wagon or...
The tavern has been basically ruined, but the walls are high enough you can hide behind them. High enough and wide enough. The carts themselves, there are various carts around that you could hide behind.
And are they
probably
within
are.
our movement?
Definitely.
Okay.
You could
Now-
definitely get to them without having to run.
Is it possible for me to scoop up some burning logs on my shovel and fling it towards the rose bush? The closest-
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Close are they to us? I don't.
The rose bushes are probably 15 feet from you.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Okay.
Rough estimate.
would there be a log that's sticking out of the fire for me to grab to throw?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's what I would be doing right now.
You're throwing them at the rose bushes?
Yeah, I would say to everyone, we must target one first.
Okay. Call that roll with advantage because they're enormous and they're relatively close to you.
Okay. I'm in. We'll all target the rose bush on the right.
All right.
Okay.
So adding my dex, that was a 14.
Nice.
I got a 21 with my dex.
Oof.
Nice. You guys are on fire.
I like
Well,
this
actually, I
guy.
think the rose bushes are going to be on fire, but you know what I mean.
Am I rolling? No.
Please.
Oh yeah. So you say that with advantage?
Yes, since the rose bushes are really close to you and they're really big. Your aim would have to be absolutely terrible.
I roll. This is a deck roll.
It's a dex roll.
5. Because I'm -1 on my deck.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's a bit outside.
So you whip a burning log right through the air and it lands right in front of you. You're pretty sure it went right, and it's one of those times where you whip it and you're all proud of it and it kind of lands on your feet in front of you. But the other 2 logs go flying through the air and strike home, and the bushes just burst into flames. The one on the right that you guys hit stops quaking and kind of trembles its way back into the woods. Leaves and what are left of its thorns kind of fall off in the wake of it as it sets off into the woods.
So that means we have 3 left.
Right. 2 near you and 2 at the top of the hill. Gsan, you make it into town as you watch a burning rose bush the size of a watershed book it into the woods.
It's like maybe
What
I
do you
should
do?
go somewhere else.
Gerard, you there?
I would say that seemed to work, and
Yeah.
toss another one.
Yeah. We all attack again
Sure, yeah,
and advantage again.
definitely.
Not that that.
Gerard, what are you doing while they roll?
I'm climbing out of the bushes
Okay. Okay. The tree line.
Yeah, the tree line.
Okay. You see the rose bush looking into the woods, and these three men whipping burning sticks at a rose bush the size of two rose bushes, really, the size of a building, and an owlbear pacing around a large bonfire very uncomfortably. What do you do?
So I come up to the bonfire.
Okay.
I'm talking to everyone and say, let me assist you. And I'm trying to light up my arrow.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm shooting a flaming arrow to the bushes, rose bush.
Sounds good. Roll the hit. What did you guys get on your rolls?
16.
Nice.
Got a 20.
A natural 20?
No, not natural.
Okay. I have goodies for you guys when you get natural 20, so make sure you tell me here.
I rolled.
I'll
a
ask
5
anyway,
again.
but you rolled a 5 again. So now there are two burning sticks. You kind of throw them real awkwardly, so they go out as they hit the ground in front of you. You look like you're building a campfire the hard way, right? And the other two throw their sticks into the bush, the bush, and it and goes up in this giant conflagration and burns up into nothing.
I was wondering if I could use my illuminate cantrip to create like what looked like a ball of fire out toward them.
Definitely, and that's a cantrip, so you don't even need to roll. It just happens. Poof. So how big is this
use my
fire?
cantrip, and I make like out 15 feet right in front of them. I make this big illumination, but it looks like fire, but it obviously just
Awesome. So the remaining rose bush, a bunch of leaves just fall out of the bottom of it, like the plant-based version of crapping itself, and it books it into the woods. The two remaining rose bushes on the hill have, for lack of a better term, seen you, and they rotate to look at you and throw thorns at you. The three of you, really, since actually, I guess the five of you. You're all close enough. Those spears are enormous. I suppose I should roll dice now.
Has any of the villagers came to help us, or are they just all running?
They have all booked it into the house on the hill, and you are pretty sure you heard the thunk of a really heavy door being barricaded.
Okay.
I think
Gsan
the dome
and
smells
Jit,
like a latrine at this point.
say again?
I think the dome probably smells like a latrine at this point.
Probably. Gsan and Jit, you both take 3 damage as giant spears fly through and nick you on the arms and land into the ground next to you.
Oh,
Ouch.
okay. I will survive. I will survive.
There's how many more rose bushes?
There are 2 at the top of the hill that just launched giant spear salvos at everybody.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 left?
Those are the only 2 left.
Okay.
You scared 2 and burnt 1 into nothing.
So I'll try to fight flaming arrow at one of them.
Sure. Did you roll the hit? Sorry. Wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, before he does that,
Sure, yeah.
and I don't know how we're ordering things, so I just kind of acted. Can I use my Providence cantrip on him to give him a +1?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I call out to the Tinker to bring order to these chaotic creatures and say, "Bless you, my brother."
Oh, Gerard, I meant to say, I saw your dice in your photo you sent me with your character sheet. Those are really cool.
Thank you.
He's got these white dice that look, they're white like bone, and they've got red splotches all over them. Yeah, they look like something out of a splatter movie.
Oh, nice.
And they're the murder hobo dice, aren't they?
I'm actually going to make my own.
Oh, that's cool.
About that, I got these XL ones from the Explorer's kit, and
Nice.
they came with little inserts, which I might try and fill with resin later.
Ooh, fancy.
So I rolled 13.
Nice. Nice. So your flaming arrow goes and punches into one of the bush creatures, right? And you swear you hear it yell in pain. You swear you hear somebody yelling in pain through woods, right? That weird echo that happens. And it quakes and crumbles and folds in upon itself.
So the cry came from the woods, not from the bush?
Oh no, you're pretty sure it came from the bush. It just sounds like somebody screaming through a thicket. How it distorts sound.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, can I
Maybe
are we
there's
going in
someone
any
those-
particular order here?
We are not going in any particular order. That said, I don't. If you guys want to have more traditional initiative, if that would be easier for you, that's okay.
Um,
I'm
Well,
not used to using
I
it.
just want to jump in quickly before they're all. There's only one left now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I want to use my cantrip, Whisper Mind.
Okay,
And now I'm assuming that's only one-way communication.
that is one-way communication. Right.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna. Well, I could learn something by his actions, so I'm just gonna ask him how brief. How many words do I got?
Oh, as many as you like. Talking's a free action, right?
Okay. I guess I'll ask him in common, or I'm gonna ask him, "What do you want? Where do you come from?"
The branchborn, you mean? The rosebush creature?
Right, if that's
Okay.
possible. I'm attempting it.
Sure. Yeah. You don't roll for that. It's a cantrip, so you just do it. You hear all of you, not just you. It doesn't respond psychically, right? It kind of rustles, and no words are spoken, but you all understand what it means with the rustling and the quaking. It announces that it is a member of the branchborn, right? And it is here to wipe out all the living. The planet belongs to the branchborn, and it always has. Effectively, nature is here first.
That's pretty evil, right? Just a bit.
Well, I don't know. Is Ultron evil?
The druids
Because
are.
when I was a kid, he was real evil. As an adult,
All right, with that, I pick up another log and give it a good toss.
okay. Like I got you right here. Nice.
Oh shit! I might as well not have thrown it. Yeah, 7.
Ooh, okay. It kind of spirals out of control and lands next to the branchborn, and it just kind of, if trees could giggle, right? And then it becomes very still for a second, and vines shoot out of it and attempt to wrap you up.
Oh no!
Make a dex save.
All right. That is a dex plus 10.
10. Okay. You pretty sure you make it. Like you shift a little bit, and you just don't quite pull it off. It grabs you by the ankle at the last second and whips you upside down in the air, like one of those snare traps you see in the movies.
Little help.
I'm rushing with my swords.
Okay.
To cut.
You're rushing towards the giant rosebush in an attempt to cut him free.
Yeah, and I roll 1.
You rolled a 1. Okay. As you rush your sword forward into the bush, right, you think you hit something hard in there. There's a clang sound, and your sword takes a point of durability damage.
Is everyone still throwing fire at this thing? If they stopped, I could run in and try and like bite the branches away.
Well,
like,
Jason threw fire at it.
Yeah, I'm going to fire at this one so far.
so this thing's not on fire.
No.
It is not on fire. No, it's not burning.
Right. I'll run in and try and free. I forget your character name, Jason.
Oh, I did too. Nordir.
I run in and try and free Nordir with my beacon claws.
Nice.
Spell that, Jason.
Nordir.
Nordia.
Let me know what you roll, Hermes.
Ugh. That's not good.
If you
That's a
say
4.
again,
That's a 4.
4 is not bad. Not good. It would have been a 1. 4 is just you missing. You lash forward with your claws and beak, and you get a bunch of vine, but you're pretty sure you didn't do any damage. You just kind of have this ugly taste in your mouth. Vines roll down the side of Nordir's body, and you're pretty sure that you start to feel them kind of squeeze into you, and you watch some of the vine, and you can feel part of it you can't see, growing those thorns again. It'll run you through with them in 2 rounds. What do?
Are my arms free at all?
Ish, right. One of them is free, the other one is free, like from the elbow down.
I'm going to defend him. Oh, Jason, do you want to do something?
No, please, go ahead.
Can I attack the bush that, like, I'm going to run up to the bush and smash it.
I mean, you do have a hammer. Yeah, sure.
I don't know if it's the best tool. We'll see.
It just occurred to me, I've got an actual sickle, which is for this kind of thing. Make that up.
I want to see an owlbear use a sickle.
That's my kind of thing.
Okay. I'm going to roll to hit this bush with my Tinker's Hammer of Doom.
Do that with advantage.
Oh, thank you.
It's enormous, and you're right in front of it.
Oh, my word. Well, I have a +3 because of my... No, +2. It's a strength. I rolled an 8, which is not sufficient. I think I'm going to burn all my dice.
So you do one of those dealies where somebody, like at the baseball game, goes and kind of messes and lands on their butt, right? You catch yourself before you hit the ground, right? But you do look awfully silly.
This is not good.
What are the rest of you guys doing in an attempt to save Nordir's life? I mean, you don't have to save his life.
I'm going to take shelter behind the part of the wall.
Okay.
Just concerned about my hit points. And I guess I'll launch an arrow at the tree. Can I do that without hitting Nordi?
If you don't roll a 1, yes.
If I roll a 1?
If you roll a 1, you'll probably hit him. I have a die for that. I'm not just going to guarantee that you hit him. Because dice
Well, I'm
can
going
be
to take
real
my
mean.
chances then.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like a 1, but it's a 7.
Okay.
I got a +2, so it's a 9.
Nice.
I'm
So the
assuming-
arrow flies and a little wide and does hit the bush creature, right? Does hit the bush, but it doesn't catch the vine and set Nordir free. But it sinks deep. Roll for damage.
What is that with the hunting bow? 1 die 8 or 6?
Hold on.
Which
6.
bow?
It's 8. It's 8.
Yes.
So, and you include your
Your dex mod.
and damage, right?
Yes, you add your dex mod to ranged attacks.
And damage.
Ranged non-magical attacks.
And damage.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't recall, but I think so. Let's
Or is
let's
that
go with
only?
yes.
Or is that for finesse weapons?
I'm pretty sure that that finesse lets you use your strength or your dex roll to add to the damage, add to the to hit, not to the damage. But let's say you do. Let's say you get to add your dex roll to your dex mod to the damage and the to hit die, and the same thing for strength rolls when that comes up.
Whatever. Okay. In that case, then I got a 5.
Awesome. The arrow punches through, and you watch it come out the back with a bunch of branches attached to it. You've torn a hole in this thing. Not a very big hole. Arrows aren't very wide, but you can see clear through it.
All right.
So I have one
Trembles.
free arm. Would I be able to get one of my swords?
You can. You actually have 2 free arms because when he shoots this thing, it shakes in what is clearly pain, and it loosens its grip on you a little bit.
Okay, so I'll take out one of my swords, grab the vine, and kind of pull myself up and try to cut the vine.
Excellent. You can't miss, so just roll for damage. There's no way you can miss.
Sword, what is that? That is a 10. Okay, so for damage you add what?
These are swords, so you'll roll your damage and add your strength mod to it.
Okay. So that's 8 points of damage.
Nice. You cut through the vine and it drops you. On your way down, some of the talons, the tines that were kind of sticking into you, rake you a little bit on the way down, and you take 1 point of damage as you crumble into the dirt beneath it.
Oh, I try to roll away as far as I can.
I'll try then with
The most dignified
flaming
way.
arrow.
You'll hit it with more arrows? Excellent.
Can I attack it again?
Or a flaming arrow.
18.
Sure. What was that, 19?
18.
18. Excellent. Roll for damage as you hit it with a flaming arrow.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours did we want to play for? Did we come up with a number? 2, 3?
5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. You hit the bush and it bursts into flames and kind of withers and shrivels into nothing. A big ball of gnarled, burnt, black ick.
Mhm.
The town goes creepy quiet pretty much instantly.
Are they all gone now?
They're
All the
all
roses?
hiding,
But
right?
the bushes have either died or fled, yes.
I have to go upstairs for a second.
Okay.
Roll for initiative.
Since he had to go away for a second, and so do I, if you guys want to take, what do my friends call it, a bio break, now would probably be a good time.
Bio break.
I like that. I'm going to take it as a beer break, but okay.
Okay, so for attack rolls, does anybody? So for an attack roll, it's the dice plus your dex or strength. Do you add a proficiency to that?
No.
No. Okay, so it's just okay. Awesome.
It seems that the proficiency is only for certain checks that we're proficient at.
Okay.
Me being a mage, I'm proficient at finesse, negotiation, and spellcasting.
Ah, okay. So these are the only thing that get the +2.
Right.
Okay.
And I guess now he's allowing us to add our modifier for damage as well as hit to hit.
And back.
All right. So it's just us and some burning bushes, and everyone else is locked in the house on the hill.
Yes, though I have something to pass out once Nathan gets back.
Can the people in the house on the hill see us? Were they watching?
They
or-
can't. There are no windows in the house on the hill.
Okay. And it's pretty unscathed. Like it's
Yes,
not.
there's a couple of dings where 2 of the thorns struck it and left.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't sink in real far. But aside from that, yeah, it's pretty much fine.
As
And
far as
then the tavern's got to be rebuilt completely.
Pretty much, yeah. The thorns tore right through the walls like they weren't even there.
All right.
Sorry, my dinner arrived.
I like dinner. Side effect of this through the phone online thing, no one has to shell out money to bring food, and that's cool. Oh, thank you guys for bearing with me on this. I've never done an online session before, not through
this is
Zoom.
going really well, guys.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I was afraid I was afraid it was boring.
No, believe, like last Sunday we did an online session with the group I normally play in person with, and it was horrendous. I was really dreading it.
Well, here's hoping this one's okay.
So far, it's much better.
Oh, good. Oh,
You
good.
were trying to put a battle map up on Discord, and it just wasn't playing ball at all.
Ooh.
Mm.
Do you guys want to roll for initiative or something as opposed to the free for all?
I feel like there needs to be a little more order, just so that I know that I'm not attacking as many times as I want.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And everyone gets their turn, and yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, I feel pressure to do something before someone else does something, and then I'll be like, oh man, I wanted to talk to that bush.
And we could do the Professor Dungeon Master. We have our round. We describe what we want to do. It happens.
That works for me. I'm a big fan of that. Initiative is one of those. I've been fighting over D&D mechanics with other people and myself since I was a little kid. And initiative, I just don't understand why it still exists. I mean, I get it, leftover from chainmail, right? I understand it's a war game remnant, but it's a remnant. It's like a leftover. How would you like to be a leftover? It's a dirty word. Unless you're taking people out to be shot, in which case I'm totally okay with going last. Anyway, there's my fussy 2 cents. So you guys have crushed these rose creatures. A hush has fallen across the city, more like a little hamlet. And the rotten rose creature kind of shakes one more time, and a large metal box kind of rolls out of it and ends up at your feet.
Oh, nice. Whose feet?
Who's closest to it? I was thinking Nathan, since he was the one attempting to melee attack it.
I was like, so what do I see with this box?
The box itself is relatively unadorned, except for the part where it's got a large, gaudy gold ring on the front of it, which is the marker for where you would open it. There's no keyhole or anything, just kind of a knot where you would put your hand and pull it up.
Well, I take my tinker's hammer and sort of see if I can knock it open, but I'm staying away.
Okay. Do me a favor and roll percentile die.
Percentile die. Ooh. Now we're back to the rifts. 13.
13. So as you're digging, the box pops open. Say again?
I'm rolling so bad.
That's actually not true in this particular case, because what you just did was roll on a loot table, and I went out of my way to make sure that the loot on the table is not ranked 1 to 100 in order of prominence. For those times where people roll real crap dice. So you find a helmet that you're pretty sure will fit you perfectly, engraved with the sign of the Tinker on it. That's it. It's a silver helmet that will fit you perfectly. Weighs practically nothing.
Does that increase my AC? Can I wear helmets?
You can wear helmets. It does not increase your AC. It's not, for the mechanical side of things, it's not armor.
Can
But
it absorb a point of damage if I let it get destroyed?
It will, but if you put it on, you're pretty sure as soon as you go near it that not only does it kind of smell like it's yours because it's got the Tinker stamp on it, but it also radiates magic like crazy.
Oh, well, I totally put it on.
Yeah, I totally put it on. Okay. As soon as you put it on, you feel this calming sensation, and you feel the voice of the Tinker boom directly into your brain with a low growl that this helmet belongs to you and will bring you back from the edge of death more effectively than any healing item.
Nice. So we call this the Tinker's helmet?
Sure, I don't have a name for it. Yeah, sure, go for it.
Yeah.
There's a piece of loot in there for each of you, so you should all roll percentile die.
Okay, got it. That's the boy. I got a 30.
30?
3
3.
Okay, Hermes first, right? Hermes first. You find four. That's right, four, because they've got they don't actually have your name carved on them, but I've made them just for you. There's a couple of boots in there that will fit on you with your giant, weird, disproportionate owlbear limbs.
Okay.
that will allow you to climb on any surface you want. They have barbs and sticky things on the bottom of them, and you're pretty sure that you can climb on anything that will hold your weight.
Nice.
Gerard, what did you get? A 13?
3.
3. You come up with. Sorry about that. You come up with a black arrowhead on a chain. You cannot get lost while you're wearing it.
Nice.
I still need a roll from Barry.
I rolled a 100.
No kidding. That's exciting. That is the only time this table isn't as cool, because there's no guarantee that, because it's not designed for the 1 through 100 run.
I'm quite sure Barry's dice are cheating.
Strange.
Let me say Barry's dice. That way you're not accusing Barry of cheating, just the spirits of the die.
That's right. The man has rolled down
Time to change.
So there's a roll of the loaf of bread in there. It smells awesome, like it came out of the oven 12 seconds ago.
All right.
That's it. Beyond that, it radiates magic, but it doesn't look funny. It just looks like a loaf of dark bread.
And it's radiating magic. Well, I guess I'll attempt to detect magic. And I guess
Says the man who might be more. Says the
What?
man who's more pragmatic than Nathan, because he just put the helmet on his head.
And this is when I let everyone know I'm a mage, and I kind of say I'm going to do a spell. You might want to stand back.
Okay. What spell are you doing?
Detect magic. I want to know what this bread does. I'm not going to eat it. All right. So I add my intelligent modifier, right?
And you're looking to beat an 11.
Okay, well, I rolled a 12.
Excellent. So the bread itself is just bread, in that it will heal you and everyone you want to heal you within 15 feet.
And how big is this loaf, and how much do I have to eat?
There are about 6 bites worth in it,
All right.
but you only have to take 1 bite to heal everybody within you. Everybody within 15 feet of you, fully.
All right. Is anyone, just Gerard and I and Nordy are injured?
I lost 1 point. I'm good.
I lost 3
rub
points.
dirt on it.
I
On the
lost
mechanical
3, so that's half my hit points.
On the mechanical side, what's going to happen is when you take a bite out of that, everyone is going to heal fully, and you're going to roll percentile die again. The blessed bread offers up its own loot.
Oh.
No.
Oh,
Not a bad deal. I rolled a 72.
72. Oh, that's crazy. So you find a small, and I do mean small, like a leather strap that you could wrap around 1 or 2 of your fingers. It's tiny. It's cool to the touch, and upon touching it, you gain 1 point of constitution.
Oh.
Awesome.
Nathan, mechanically, what that helmet does is when you hit 0 hit points in 5 torches deep, you don't die. You roll a 6-sided die, and in that many turns, you're dead. Your friends have that long to pick you up off the floor. They have to make a save, intelligence or will, whichever one they feel like using. And basically, they grab you by the shirt and go, "Don't you die on me, man!" And if they make the save, you just don't die. Because in 5 torches deep, death isn't the problem. It's getting up out of the stabilizing that's the problem. It's dangerous. There's a table for that will kick you really hard in the pants. As long as you wear that helmet, you don't roll a d6. You roll a d8 instead.
I have one question about the blessed bread. Does that
Sure.
heal everyone around me or just my allies?
Everyone you choose to heal you within 15 feet.
All right, okay.
You could use it to heal an enemy, but you would have to choose to do that.
Okay.
I think the existence of this bread forebodes some deadly combats ahead.
Yeah,
Hey, don't look at me. You rolled it.
after the first fight.
Did I get everybody their roll? Yeah?
I go.
Everybody got their roll, right?
I-
Excellent. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. That wouldn't be very fair, would it? So here you are with new and exciting doodads, and in a town that's gone creepy quiet.
So while we're doing all this, is everybody still in the dome? Because I'm guessing all of us kind of doing this it's been a couple of minutes.
It has been a couple minutes. You hear some people through the cracks the thorns have made in the side of the wall. You hear some people whimpering and crying and some light kind of murmuring, but no one's been brave enough to come back outside yet.
Because they sealed the door, didn't they?
They did seal the door.
I could
Scout Lars! Oh, vanquished!
I could knock on the door and make some owlbear noises, you know. Very much
Humor me. What are owlbear noises?
There's a couple. So I assume they
I
can
love that
both.
you put thought into this.
I assume they can both growl. I thought about it because I was going to play a voice, but I couldn't make my mind up. They screech an awful lot, from what I hear, and I'm assuming that they can like sort of grunt and growl like a bear and hoot like an owl.
You're safe now. No, that's a goblin. No, that's all wrong.
I was going to go, whoo! Felt like that was safer.
The who of security, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay,
Better
so you knock on the door. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a good tap with my claws. Right.
Okay. You hear some people initially pull back, right, and then one of them you hear somebody go, "No, it's the owlbear. I recognize that scratch." Right, and you hear them, and they move the big post from behind the door, and they push the doors open. And there are a couple of people looking at you, and one of them nods to the other and goes, "See, I told you it was fine." And you see Lars still passed out, where if this were a more traditional church, there would be a center pedestal. He's just kind of passed out in the middle of the room, and some people are looking after him. He's not the only one that's asleep. He's just the only one in the middle of the room. Lots of people are crying. It smells terrible in here. Some people clearly let themselves go.
Is Lars, does he have like a position in the town as far as like a leader or looked up to, or?
Not anything formal, right? Not like, not a legally binding thing, but the people trust him and believe him, and for the most part, go with whatever his plans are. He's also the only one that tends to come up with any plans.
He's the owner of the Windy Oak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is the owner of what was once the Windy Oak.
Oh.
And now it's kind of a scrap heap.
We don't have anywhere to stay anymore.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought of that, but that's a good point.
What's our lodging?
Yeah, I'll kind of make my way down to the Mosey Oak, the Windy Oak, and
Okay.
kind of give it a once over, seeing what's
Okay.
left.
So it's the front and back. It's a building that's wider than it is long. The sides of it, the left side and pretty much the entire left half of it is just ruined. If it even so much as rains, it'll ruin what's left of that side of it. The right side's pretty intact. Most of the tables and stuff inside are pretty fine. The bar is fine. And underneath the ruins, right? Ruins usually describe something that's very old. Underneath the wreckage, you see what looks like a big, heavy door with a brass ring on it that you're not sure how you missed it before.
In the floor, or
In the floor.
does it look like it belongs here, or does it look like something got moved and it doesn't belong here?
It matches the floor.
Okay.
There's a busted bookshelf next to it. It was probably underneath that.
The game is called Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey, no, the game is called Five Torches Deep.
Sure.
But I suppose that's fair.
All right, so looking at it, do I see that it's locked or anything?
Nope, there's no way to lock it. It's just a big, heavy concrete panel set into the floor with a big ring. You'd have to be pretty hardy to kind of pull it up, but it doesn't look like it's locked. There's no hinges or anything.
All right, I walk back to the edge of the remains of the inn and I look up the hill. Is most of everybody still inside the dome except for the party?
Yes, the people have slowly started to kind of poke their heads out and look left and right, and they're not really sure how to deal with this, both the attack and the aftermath. But you're starting to notice what people might be braver than the others, because some of them have started to be like, well, I mean, it looks safe enough to me, and they've kind of left and started going back to their lives or what's left of them. But for the most part, yeah, it's just you and the group.
Okay, then I come running around the corner of the inn saying, "Go back in, go back in."
They freak and don't even think about it and book it back in.
As soon as I see the door shut, I kind of go from a run to just kind of like a little walk up to the party.
I have one eyebrow raised.
I bet. So do I.
I angry look at Nordir.
I say, it seems that it's the will of the tinker that we join forces.
I don't know about your tinker, but I know you all seem to know your way around a blade or an axe or something.
Flaming logs.
Flaming logs, it is.
You need not know the tinker to know his order. It is so.
First off, anything we find, spoils get divided evenly among us?
I was going to do that strictly for the sake of fairness, but you're grown-ups. If you don't want it to be that way, that's okay. I'm just giving out loot. Everybody gets a piece of loot.
Well, just to let you know, in the tavern, I've been in a tavern for a couple of months, and I've never seen this latched entrance. It could be worth our while to check it out.
Seems that he's hiding something.
If something's hidden, then it's worth looking at. It's typically the way I look at it.
Indeed.
One of my favorite quotes I ever heard in a video game was, "You'd be amazed what you could find in places you shouldn't be looking."
Quote to live by.
Right, I thought that was pretty slick.
Lars still in the building? Because I kind of want to interrogate him.
Lars is still in the building, last you checked. Hermes can confirm that because they kind of, in their attempt to burrow back through the building right and shut the door behind him, they kind of pushed him out of the way, which is real impressive given that they're townsfolk and he's an owlbear.
I let them. That's what I was.
Gsan, you've been kind of quiet. What are you thinking in light of all this?
I'm just looking around, searching if there's no more enemies.
You don't see anything that looks remotely hostile, other than maybe Nordir kind of going, "Hey guys, psst, check it out."
I won't buy it.
Hey, Tinker. Is there any healing in that helmet of yours?
Tinker.
You.
I immediately hold my hand above my head and like say a quick prayer and say like, "Forgive this blasphemy. I'm not the tinker. I'm just a man. But you may call me whatever you fit." I think we need to bring Lars out of here. He seemed to have been a reasonable man to me over the last few days, but if there are hidden doors in his tavern, then he knows more than he's letting on. And I'm kind of skeptical of the peace of this town, especially being that it's derived from something other than the order of the Maker.
Do you think that says anything about our society that I said there's a group of 100 people who coexist and you all went, yeah, right?
Well, why don't we ask him to come on outside? And only him.
Oh. Okay. So all of you, including the owlbear, march up to the temple, or just one or two of you?
I could
Well,
stand-
Nathan, your character knows him.
Jason knows him. The owlbear know him. We all know him.
All right,
Right.
well, you
Yeah.
guys can fetch
With
him.
the exception of Gsan, who's kind of just arrived, right?
Yeah, but I'll go with the part.
Okay. You guys make it up to the door. Let's say Hermes does his little scratchy again, and they let him in, right? And two of the townsfolk kind of eyeball you and eyeball Nordir and go, "What? Why? You know what? We don't want to know. We assume you took care of it. We don't want to know. What can we help you with? Can we go back? Is it safe?"
Where's Lars?
It may not be safe yet, but is Lars available?
They go, "If you can wake him up, yeah, sure." And they kind of point over to the middle of the room, and he's kind of just thrown out in a big dramatic scene on top of a couple of pillows.
We're lucky because we have somebody that can easily carry Lars.
Not only can I easily carry him, I can probably easily wake him up too.
You could probably easily eat him if you really wanted to.
So I'm going to go on over to Lars, and I want to sort of stand over him, prod him a little bit, put my head
With
right
your
up
claws.
gently. You know, I'm not stabbing him in the face. I know what my claws can do.
Okay.
And I'm going to screech.
All right. You kind of screech, banshee wail into his face while you're poking him in the chin, right? And he kind of wakes up and goes, ah, ah, and he kind of goes like this because he's afraid, not of you, but when he passed out, he was afraid. And he kind of snaps out of it and he goes, "Oh, hi," and he kind of scratches you under the chin and goes, Is everything okay? If you're alive, we're probably alive." And he kind of pets himself and goes, "I'm alive. Rosebush is dead then."
Yes, good.
Glad to hear it. And he kind of stands himself up and attempts to be, clean himself up and dust himself off and stand proper. And the people immediately turn around and kind of showcase that they're happy he's alive. There's a lot of, "Oh, thank goodness. Oh, praise," and that kind of thing. And he approaches the rest of you that aren't animals and offers his praise for your help in chasing off the rose creatures.
I flex as if I did it all myself.
Super owlbear. That's great.
All right, and
You need to get some underwear for the outside.
I would say to him, there's damage to the village, so before we let everyone out, and we just want to make sure it's safe, I think it'd be best if you just come with us outside to see the damage.
He without a second thought, goes, "Absolutely. Surveying the damage will be necessary to keep the townsfolk pleased. We don't have a lot to offer." And he goes outside.
I tell them to go ahead and make sure you close the door, stay safe.
Okay, and he acknowledges, with a head nod and a hand wave, and asks some people close the door, and you guys leave.
All right. So we're all outside with Lars, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, do we ask him about the door?
Well, you said you wanted to talk to him for a little bit. I was going to let you talk to him.
You say talk, I say interrogate. Somebody else might say torture.
It depends on how much information he wants to give.
Lars, you seem to have been a fair person to me in my time here, and you've always answered my questions, but there's some reason for us to believe that you might know something more about this. What's going on?
He raises the rock's eyebrow that I cannot do, right? And he goes, "Oh, what could you possibly be talking about? Now isn't the time for that. My town is totaled. Look around."
Yes. Why don't we go look around? We make our way down to the tavern.
Okay. And he goes with you. There's no hesitation or anything.
Nathan, do you have anything else you wanted to ask him?
No, I want us to get over to the door and kind of say, hey, what's this?
Okay. All right. So when we walk him over to the tavern, does he look nervous? Does he look like he's kind of eyeballing to see if it's
He
revealed?
doesn't look nervous or hesitant or anything until he notices the blown over bookshelf, and then the concrete block with essentially the overgrown door knocker underneath it. And you watch for just a second, his entire body tense up. If you weren't as crafty as you were, you would have noticed. We're talking like a fraction of a second.
All right.
And then he immediately defaults back into the.
As soon as he
Go ahead,
makes
I'm
a face, I say, I think it's time for you to start talking.
He puts his hands up and goes, "Hey, whoa! I didn't look. Whatever you guys find down there, I promise I did it for the good of the people. You've been here for a while. The people don't argue to any meaningful extent. Isn't that worth a couple of dead people?" I have a bet. And he realizes that he didn't mean to say that out loud, and attempts to double back.
Dead what? I asked him. Couple of dead what?
People don't get along by themselves, okay? And religion doesn't work either, because then people pick gods and argue about whose god is better. So that doesn't actually work. So I might have found a plant that I could put in the drink that would make everybody coexist, but it only grows in corpses. And in the beginning, it was easy. People just die, right? No big deal. But eventually, the people grew a tolerance to the serum, and I needed more bodies now. If you had been here longer, you might have known the town used to have more than 100 people in it. Look, I didn't do anything wrong.
How many dead people are we talking?
Ones that I found or ones that I made?
Both.
Made?
I don't know. What's a family or two? 6 people?
At this point, I just kind of gut punching.
He kind of right.
I stopped Nordir from punching and punched by myself.
Like, no, wait. You drill him in the stomach. He bends over and coughs up a little spit and a little bit of blood. He is an old man after all. And he goes, and he stands back up as soon as he can and goes, "Why are you hitting me? I didn't do anything wrong. This is for the betterment of the many."
If killing is not wrong, then punching is also not.
Not wrong. He goes, "Think about it less like killing and more like sacrifice for the greater good."
Sacrifice to what? You claim to follow no gods, but it is only the forces of chaos that give supposed order out of hidden arcane knowledge. True order only comes from the tinker.
Maybe sacrifice was the wrong word. There's no divinity here. There are no gods. I just looked around at all the damage that people cause through war and miscommunication and ferocious beliefs, and I wanted something better than that. And this guy told me about this serum that he had, and I didn't believe him, so I, shelled out a little tiny bit of gold for it, and it worked great.
This guy, who's this guy?
Guy came through, little stumpy thing, right? What are they called? Dwarves? A dwarf came through some time ago. Creepy fella, couldn't see his face, black robe, right? And like he knew what I wanted, like he could read my mind. Proposed to me that he could solve my peace problem. He could help me create lasting harmony with people, and all I had to do was feed them this. He promised me that it wouldn't hurt them and it wouldn't change them in any way other than that they wouldn't argue about anything to such a point that it damaged their lives. And it did exactly what he said it did. He left out the part when I came to get more that it only grew in the corpses of people.
So wait,
How?
sorry,
How
my kids were out there fighting. Um, so
See, serum is good.
so the Lars forced people to drink the serum, and it grew plants from it, and he makes
Lars didn't force anybody. Lars explains to you that he didn't force anybody to drink it. He just put it in the alcohol. He didn't like bend them over the table or anything. They just drank it.
Well, fuck,
Yeah,
I've been
and-
here for months, dude.
So yeah, why are we so willing to hurt this guy right now then?
Because
he raises his hands and
killed
go
6
ahead.
people in order to have peace with 100. He could have had some level of strife, but no murder with 106 people. But he murdered 6 people.
This is a good point. And do you suggest? Do you ask about how come it didn't work on you in character, like out loud?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know me.
He looks you over and goes, "I'm not really sure. We didn't talk about what. It's not like I had a lot of animal test subjects. I had no interest in experimentation. It does. I assume it doesn't work on you because you're an owlbear. This he's from another place. The dwarf. I don't know how it works. I really don't. I just know that it only grows in the corpses of people. I don't have a dead owlbear. Maybe if I had one of those, right?
I am tower over him and like stare him down.
He goes, "Whoa, did I say dead? I meant if I found a dead owlbear. My bad. Whoa, I would never hurt an owlbear."
So I point over at the trap door and I say, "What is down there?"
Yeah.
It was, so, as you clearly you're opposed to this whole me killing 6 people for the good of the many thing, and to be fair, you wouldn't be the only people I've ever met who I assumed would have had a problem with that. So the bodies I need to continue to grow this, I found that the plants you put into it, you can grow the serum out of this plant that grows on its own, kind of like a fungus. So if I put a bunch of dead things near each other, I could get it to grow more effectively with less people, therefore not having to kill anyone else, which is really nice. But death smells terrible. So I needed a place to have it. Long story short, his workshop is down there. And he kind of says, "Look, if it'll make us square and you won't tell the townsfolk, go check it out if you want. Just please don't disturb the serum. What was the point of those 6 people's death if we have strife again? They're already dead. You can't get them back from the dead. At least let these people have their strife-free lives."
How did you choose your victims?
The old and the sick. The people that were already going to die soon anyway.
Did they know why they were dying?
Yes, 2. Yeah, he goes, three of them were old men, and they were just old from bodily diseases. They were going to die in the next couple of weeks probably anyway, and I just didn't have the time to wait. So while they were sleeping, I... Say again?
What did you tell them about their deaths?
The rest of the people, that they died in their sleep, and that's what happened. I helped, but they died in their sleep.
But they didn't know why they were dying.
No, they had no idea, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm not a doctor, right? I have no idea how come. I don't have any magical training. I have no idea how come they were dying.
I meant, did you tell them they're dying for the greater good?
Oh, no, I waited until they were asleep and just...
So no one in the town knows about this?
No, nobody, except me, and now you. Please don't ruin that.
So
But aside from that...
The attacks on the town didn't start until you did this?
Now that you mention it, there is some correlation between those timelines, yes. Now that you mention it, I hadn't thought of that.
Is it always giant rose bushes?
No. The last time there was an attack, an oak tree the size of a mountain crushed. This is the 2nd time I've rebuilt this tavern. The time before that, it was giant balls of vines and barbs that whipped everywhere. And the time before that, it was what looked like a pitcher made out of leaves that smelled wonderful and swallowed people whole.
How many people have died because of these attacks?
And he kind of looks down and he's thinking and he goes, I want to say 12.
So now we're at 18 people that you're responsible for the deaths of in order to keep the peace for 100.
Now hold on. How can I be responsible for those plant creatures? You don't have any proof that that's my fault.
I think this priest makes a pretty good point here.
He's like, yes, I do. Oh.
Where did this man who sold you these seeds get them from?
I have no idea. I didn't ask. Like I said, it was like he read my mind. He knew exactly what I wanted, and he said exactly what I wanted to hear. I didn't ask a lot of questions.
What did this person look like? I bet it was a halfling.
He was short, maybe 3 feet high, almost as wide as he was tall, kind of like a barrel with a face. Short, ruddy black hair, really striking green eyes.
Green eyes?
Green eyes, like they were carved out of precious gems. But beyond that, I didn't really see his face. He was covered up pretty well.
How long ago was this?
Couple of months.
So in a couple of months, you've had an attack by 4 or 5 different creatures coming out of the woods?
Yes.
So you've done away with 18 people in the matter of a couple of months.
No. I did away with 6 people.
That's your reckoning. I'm sticking with mine.
I only physically put my hands on 6 people. And it was for the betterment of the village. The other ones got killed by the plant creatures. I managed to go into the woods and retrieve most of those bodies. They're down there too. The good news is no one else.
How
Say
much
again?
seeds do you have?
How many seeds? There's probably enough seeds down there to keep the village going in their peaceful state for the rest of my life and then some. In my earlier panic. Say again?
How bad was the village before? Was
Hateful.
the Windy
People
Oak,
arguing.
was the
Say
Windy
again?
Oak a bar brawl every night, or?
People argued all the time, and sometimes it was little things like a cuss word and a thrown rock, and other times people would cave each other's skulls in. I've lived a long time. Most settlements are like this. People argue literally to death over stupid things. How is 6 people being dead worse than that?
Well,
Surely 6 people were going to die just from people fighting anyway.
Where is the tavern keeper in relation? Is he facing the trapdoor?
I kind of assumed you guys had gathered around the trapdoor, kind of positioning him next to it. So trapdoor, him, you guys.
I think
But
it's took him down there and had a closer look at what's going on.
I was going to have a peek while everyone was talking.
okay. You're an owlbear and you've got big ass claws. You are totally strong enough to just rip this thing up out of the floor. My apologies. Should I not swear? Are there kids running around?
Not currently.
Oh, sorry. I didn't even ask. My bad, guys.
Which means yes, possibly at some point. So I'll try and keep that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and I'll try, but I'm a mechanic, and so I swear a lot. So
I get it.
I'm keeping lid on it as much as I can.
I worked in retail for a long time. That is, oh man, I learned all kinds of words there. And I would, if I didn't love my job, I'd go back to working retail. I genuinely enjoy retail jobs. Yeah, I know, I'm the weird one.
Yeah, that sounds really odd.
So as your massive owlbear self, you grab the ring and pull it up without any problems, and immediately the smell of rotting death just seeps into your nose. It smells terrible.
Gross.
Would that bother me as such, though, being a wild animal of sorts?
I don't know. You're the owlbear. You tell me.
Say, like, no, because I mean, owlbears eat things like meat, so
Now here's a secondary question. Does it smell appealing to you?
probably not. No.
Okay.
I'd say it's not going to be fresh enough to smell appealing to me. I'm basing
Okay.
that assumption. There
I
could be
love the
some-
distinction that if it was fresh, you'd be like, give me some of that.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. It smells just awful. It smells like a giant pile of death.
So I asked Lars, is there anything down there that we need to be concerned about?
Good question.
Asked that before ripping the door off, I think.
Yeah, that question that actually do seem a bit out of order, don't they? And he goes, just the lab and the bodies and the seeds, which I beg you again not to disturb. Beyond that, no, it's just a hole in the ground. You'll find some beakers and stuff where I distill this, where I go from plant to liquid. But no, there's nothing down there. Although, in the sake of honesty, I do occasionally hear a grating sound when I'm down there. I think, again, don't know, just think that somewhere under the town is something that lives that I'm dangerously near to it. I can hear what sounds like a chittering or a scratching when I'm down there, but nothing's ever busted into the town, nothing's ever come through the wall, so I've kind of gotten used to it.
Did you build this lab, or did you build this tavern on top of something?
I found when I first came here, it was just a hole. That's it. There was just a hole. There wasn't even a concrete block, no lab or anything. But over time, I'm kind of bored. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's wonderful that I've given these people what I think is better for them, and it's worked out so far. But once that was before, I was obsessed with trying to figure out how to do that. I didn't want to hurt anybody, so I wanted to do a lot of experimentation with plants and things that were more natural than, say, magic. No offense to the zealot. But in my experience, magic is unstable and things can go wrong. So I wanted to find a more natural solution. So I ended up taking stuff from the forest and assembling a lab, one table and beaker at a time, as people came through town and no longer needed them, or I bought them or whatever. But I didn't pull anything off. Then the dwarf shows up and just tells me what I need to hear.
So this lab, let's stay on this point. When you found this, it was just a hole in the ground. You didn't close off anything. When you say hole in the ground, were there walls? Were they bare dirt, rock, stone?
That's a good question. There is a wooden frame down there, I assume to prevent some sort of cave-in. But aside from that, no, there was no wooden paneling. There were no chairs. There were no benches. There were nothing. It was just a rigged up hole, which did strike me as odd, but also useful. So after the tavern was totaled the first time, I rebuilt it over this hole. Which you've heard about, which since you were here for a couple months, you heard about that. When he said couple months, his time was off. You're not sure whether or not he lied to you or he just got it wrong in his panic state. But you were here for a few months and there were no other plant attacks during the period in which you were here.
Hmm. Regardless,
I kind of glance over and just kind of look at everybody, trying to see if I can get what maybe kind of interpret what everybody might be thinking right now.
Okay.
I think we should kill him.
No interpretation necessary, right? I think, yeah.
There's a number of reasons. He's taken away the agency of these people to create their own order. Order is all important. Even though, and he's derived it from a slavery to this drug. And
Wait. You're calling the subjugation of free will slavery? Now hold on. No, that's fair.
I hear him mention the word slavery, and I instantly start to get a bit pissed off. Aimed at the other guy, but now that he's like mentioned,
Yeah, right.
Is that this guy needs to be judged, and if you just knock him out, I can instantly kill him.
Cards on the table, right?
The Tinker has granted me the gift of annihilating his foes, and if I have the magical blessing of condemning people to judgment, they are incapacitated.
Maybe we should take him down
Yes. And I
together.
think if anyone judges him, I think the townsfolk should be the ones
I agree.
make
I
that
agree.
decision.
I grab him by like the nape of the neck, and I just
Okay.
push him down the stairs, the trap door.
Okay. You just kind of cram him down.
Oh yeah, I make sure he doesn't walk down. He falls face first down the stairs.
He kind of
Yeah,
and lands at the base of the stairs. And you follow him, yes?
yeah.
yeah.
It is exactly what
I'll
you
draw,
described.
I'll draw a sword and then kind of walk in behind him.
Could we see
Okay.
bodies like played out with stuff growing out of them, like some sort of
Oh yeah.
cannibal
So
leg?
there's like 15 or 20 steps. They're all misshapen and not well put together. These look like they were cut out of some stone. Nobody like assembled the wooden set and put them in here.
Oh, so
But
these are like carved stone, not like wood or anything.
No, these are like a natural occurrence. Somebody found a boulder and just cut makeshift stairs out of it. There's probably 15 or 16 of them by the time you get to the bottom. And I mean, the smell of death just intensifies and gets worse with every step. And when you get into the bottom, when you reach the threshold, the bottom step, there are several tables and racks that go up 3 or 4 levels up. You're probably looking at a room that's 12 feet high and maybe as many feet wide. And it's just lined to the gills with shelves with bodies on them, like a makeshift morgue. There are these green plants that grow out of the bodies, sometimes long enough that they connect, like body over here, plant weaving between them. There's a desk over in the corner with some vials on it.
And the floor is wooden,
Dirt.
and the walls are just like bare dirt, right?
Also dirt, right. There's a series of stone columns set into the corners with the bracing he was telling you about, presumably to keep it from caving in at some point.
It doesn't look like something that he would have built. It was here before him, right?
It looks much older, right? It looks like old weathered wood, which only gets worse if you put it underground.
Is there any kind of inscription or anything visible?
There's nothing that looks particularly noticeable. There's no signage of any kind. Though when you mentioned earlier, when you had asked if the outside of the building had any signage on it when you were back at the house on the hill, I forgot to have him say that the town doesn't do much for signage. But he kind of shivered when you said that. Here with the suggestion, he does that again, and you watch his eyes kind of flit to the desk for just a second. One of those psychosomatic responses.
So I look at the desk more closely.
He gets uncomfortable.
Are there any drawers or anything in the desk?
There are 2 drawers on the front of the desk that look, they're deep. You could hold, any number of large things in them. It's a fancy desk, big, heavy, mahogany looking, like dark brown.
Is there anything I should know about before I go poking around in this desk, which I will be doing?
He looks very, very uncomfortable and says, no, it's just in the desk is my journal, which is very personal. Please don't look at that. And the town's savings. But I didn't steal it. I didn't steal it or anything. It's for if things go wrong, like a town treasury. We don't have a treasurer. It's the town's gold. I didn't take it from them. You can give it back to them if you want, but it won't make any difference. They'll probably just return it to me anyway.
I want him to open the drawers for me. And I'm
Okay.
holding my my tinker's hammer very close at hand and kind of I tap it on the side of my temple, say, works quite well.
Okay. He looks very, very uncomfortable. And he opens the top drawer, right? And there's, just like he said, there's a little torn up, kind of beaten looking, weathered little leather book. And he goes, it's my journal. If you need to flip through it for me to get out of this alive, I actually don't care about that as long as the townsfolk stay peaceful. It wasn't worth those 6 people if this gets interrupted. But for the sake of, maybe you're not killing me either. And he hands you the journal and kind of looks at you real sheepish, like he's like a teenager who is really hoping you're not going to say, look, I know what you did, right? That face. He's really hoping that you won't flip through the journal.
Well,
I come up from behind him and I'm gonna bear hug him into a grapple. Like I'm gonna
Okay.
keep him.
Okay.
and I start looking through the journal.
Of course you do. There's really nothing of note in it. It's just him talking about the various townsfolk, taking down their names and how old they are and what their relative health is. There's little notes, right? Jameson, 6 feet, healthy, 20-something, right? There's nothing embarrassing in there.
So why would you be so sheepish?
Is he tracking? Does it look like he's tracking like people's health progression, or
It does
how
look
they're
that
doing
way.
if they're drinking his beer type thing?
It looks like a really, what's what I look for? A really makeshift, primitive medical journal. Yeah, he's tracking their health as best he can. But given the grammar usage, the lack of effectiveness, and the terrible handwriting, it's fairly obvious that Lars is kind of an idiot. and he wasn't going to be able to pull that off.
Was there another drawer in this desk, or was that it?
There was a second drawer, right. And Lars would open it, except he's currently being squeezed by an owlbear.
I don't mind letting him go for the sake of unlocking it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let him open the other one, and I'll ask him as he's opening the drawer. So, are these plants? These plants are deadly?
No, I don't think so. So the plants themselves, you collect them, you crush them up, and then you steam that crushed up stuff into a liquid,
Hello?
which you then collect.
Hey guys, everybody froze up for me for a second.
Where was the last thing you heard?
We're about to have him open the other drawer, and you were saying something.
Okay. The medical journal, right, is poorly made and poorly executed.
Mm-hmm.
And he explains that the plants, the process to go from plant to liquid is you take the plants, you crush them up, you kind of cook them off, and then that liquid, right, you boil that down, and then you put that in the drink. But the plants themselves, I ate them. I wasn't going to, subject my town to something that might kill them. That wasn't the plan, and it wasn't the point. I've eaten them. They don't do anything. They taste terrible, but they don't hurt you. And you can't smell them right now over the corpse smell, but they don't smell real great either.
Go ahead and open that other drawer.
Okay. And he opens the drawer, and you hear this little, as he slides it open, there's a little click sound, and a dart flies out of it and pegs him in the forehead, and he falls over, slumped in the drawer.
I push him out of the way and pull the drawer open and put the bag of coins out.
Yeah, just
For a moment.
There is no bag of coins. The drawer is empty, and Lars slumps off the side of the drawer.
The body in the gut.
Say again?
I kick the body.
Lars' body rolls over to the corner, right, just goof, a lifeless husk. A moment ago, he was an old man. Now he's a shriveled old man, like a raisin with an arrow in his forehead. Like all the moisture has been sucked out of his body. And there's a tiny little dart stuck between his eyes.
can I have a look at that drawer?
Sure, yeah.
For a false bottom or something of the sort, because there's a trap in that.
You don't say. As you fuss around as you kind of open the drawer all the way, and you feel in there with your big owlbear paws, right? You find a couple of springs and a little lever, And it looks like when somebody opened the drawer, the dart was going to show up, fire up at the opener. There's
But
say again?
But I don't find a false bottom or secret compartment.
You do find a secret compartment in the back of the drawer. You could. I imagine you pry that up.
Yeah, poke a hole
You
in
pry
it.
that up. There's a hole that goes into the wall.
Right.
Something with small hands could have assembled that trap without opening the drawer. In theory, that would have been the idea.
The weird thing is he didn't want to die, and yet he just did something that he knew was going to kill him.
Well, I think he kind of knew his days were numbered.
Unless we weren't the first people to hear about this.
Maybe the desk is not his.
Humor me for a second. How do you know that he knew he was going to get hit with the dart?
I don't know that.
Exactly.
As an observer, you think he's told me what was in both drawers.
Yeah.
Now, but he thought that there was treasure in the other drawer. And maybe there was, but maybe it was removed by whatever made this hole.
Maybe he was lying about the dwarf, and maybe Lars is working for someone.
He's protecting someone.
Unless maybe perhaps one of these, not twig blights, but these plant creatures.
I like twig blights. That's really cool.
That sort of thing. Could have controlled vines and, dexterously assembled some such trap, but then why would they have the trap, I suppose?
So I've been here for a couple months. Would I have noticed? I mean, it's a small town, so people aren't coming in here on a daily basis or anything. Would I have noticed anybody that made odd trips into town, or Lara's meeting with anybody?
If there was an outsider, it would have been impossible to miss.
Right.
Because the whole town goes crazy when new people come to visit. They would have gone crazy with Gsan and Jit coming in the same day. It would have been a festival if it wasn't for the giant plant attack.
I want to examine his body and his person.
Sure.
Go through his pockets and feel the skin. I mean,
so the skin is cracked and dry like leather that's been left out in the sun way too long. He hardens and firms up and shriveled up into a caramelized raisin pretty much instantly. He wears these kind of dingy white robes with many pockets. And as you fuss through them, you come up with a smattering of gold. There's like 14 gold in one of his pockets. And there's a letter that addresses him by name, right? And it goes on to explain that the whoever wrote this is happy to hear that the seeds are working out like he said they would. And just the bottom of the letter is signed D. And there's a kind of a suggestion that he not tell anyone, like maybe a veiled threat.
D for dwarf.
That's what I was gonna say.
So I see Jed over there looking at the body, and I go over and ask him the poison to his skin.
sorry, one more time.
Would the poison do that to his skin?
Would I know that? Can I do an intelligence check?
Sure, yeah.
All right. 19 on the dice.
Ooh.
21.
You have heard of poisons that do things way worse than this, including this. It is entirely, you'd have to do some version of an autopsy to be sure, because you're not familiar with that particular poison, but it is entirely within the realm of possibility that dart did it to him. And he doesn't smell of magic or anything, so chances are that's the most likely scenario. You don't see anything else that might have caused that to happen.
Do I know anything about where these poisons originate?
Yes. Poisons fall squarely into the realm of alchemy. Almost every alchemist you've ever heard of came from the island of Rax, which is a little tiny island in the middle of the ocean.
Island of
months of travel from here.
Island of what?
Rax, R-A-X.
Oh, Rax.
Sounds like a good place to be.
Can we pull the desk away from the wall?
Oh yeah, sure. If the owlbear does it, he won't even need any help.
Hey,
Do it.
You just you pull the desk out, and that hole is much bigger than it would have initially appeared through the little slot in the desk. It's big enough that a human, anybody human or elf size could fit into it and walk. It's a tunnel, but they'd have to bend in half. A smaller creature could walk standing upright.
I cast my illuminate cantrip and send a ball of light down there to see what's going down.
Okay. The tunnel goes on. How far does your illuminate spell think? How far do you think it goes?
I don't know.
Mile.
I would say it can go like a movement, so like 30 feet.
Sure.
Same as a torch, right?
I have a
Yeah, that sounds
hooded
reasonable.
lantern.
I don't think
So it goes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's really just like really
Clarified in the book. No, it isn't. I was kind of hoping
I'm
you.
already using it a little bit beyond the book. So because I'm sending it out, but like let's say 30 feet.
Let's say 30 feet. So the ball of light, right, which I assume takes the form of like a floating hammer.
Yes.
I'm always fond of the question, what color is your magic, right? Magic is unique to the individual, right? And it floats down the 30 feet, and you see the tunnel. It's big enough. It's a straight line. And at the very edge of the 30 feet bubble, you see, so it throws some shadows. You see what might be 2 or 3, probably 3, but you're not sure, tunnels as the light goes, because it hits the edge of your range.
They said this was big enough to crawl through or walk through.
Walk through if you're something, less than 4 feet high. Hunch over to a large extent if you're taller than that.
Quick question. So
Sure.
looking at the letter that we found on Lars's body and comparing it to the journal or anything written on the desk, does it look like it's all the same hand, or does the letter look different from everything written on the desk?
It looks different. It's addressed to Lars, and it's definitely not written by him. On the back side of the note, there's what looks like somebody tried to erase it and they didn't really pull it off. You ever see somebody erase test results or something on there and it didn't come out right? There's what looks like a town name, maybe. I just forgot. I'm sorry. Windwright is a town you're familiar with. It's about a day's travel from here back towards Rivershield. And that's just written on the back of the paper. Somebody tried to erase it and clearly didn't do a very good job.
Okay. Looking around the room, do I see anything that could be handy or useful?
There's a bunch of empty vials that aren't in use, but aside from that, no, not really. I mean, you could take some samples of the plants if you wanted.
I'll go ahead and I'll grab 4 vials, and I'll put
Sure, yeah.
I'll put some of the plants.
Sure. 5 vials, even with the plants in them, don't really equate to anything. So feel free to either bundle that into a load with other little stuff or round that down to no load, whatever works for you.
Okay.
Can I detect magic on the vials that have stuff in them?
Yeah, sure. They don't radiate magic or anything. The plants nor the vials radiate anything magical. They're strictly organic. The tunnel itself is different from the rest. The room is dirt with the wooden framework. The tunnel looks like it's made out of stone. And if his ball of light let you guys see pretty clear as it went down, it looks kind of like it got burned. There are white streaks in the stone. Maybe something melted it or burned this tunnel into existence.
Do we smell anything coming up from this, or a breeze, or anything? Just stale air?
You don't smell any new air or anything, no. And there's no smell at all because the stone doesn't have a smell. The only thing you can smell is the burning corpse. Excuse me, the corpse. Sorry, no, there's no walking burning zombie. Promise. Slip of the tongue.
So is his light still at the end of the hall where it breaks off into 3?
Unless you sent it further than that, it would. If you sent it further than that, it would have and kind of canceled out on its own. But that's really up to you. whether or not it's still floating at the end of the 30 feet.
Yeah, it's fine. It could be there for now.
So just wondering, so the tunnel goes straight and then it breaks off into like a T?
More like this, more like a fork of 3, right? Like that.
Okay.
The ball of light, because of where it's situated, you can see the straight-on tunnel much clearer, but none of them look any different from one another.
And the ball of light is at the extent of as far as it can go, and it's
Right at the end of the 30-foot range or so. Right.
This tunnel is big enough for a dwarf. This man was convinced to do this thing by a dwarf. If he wasn't deceived, if he's telling us the truth, the town's savings has been stolen through this hole.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. There were no savings in that drawer.
But I feel like we need to tell the townsfolk what's going on here. And we need to investigate this further, but I don't know how safely we can get down this tunnel without being at risk. Those the fire markings make me nervous.
Not only that, can I even fit in that tunnel?
Not without some sort of enlargement of the tunnel, no. I imagine you could squeeze your body in there kind of like a sausage in a casing and kind of shimmy, but it would be really, really uncomfortable, and your movement speed would just be awful. but yeah, you could, I suppose.
Well, do we want to try to shimmy our way through this thing, or do we want to go talk to the townsfolk?
I think we should get townsfolk to at least guard this side and to see what's gone on here. Then we can head down once they're at the opening.
And someone in town may know more information about this tunnel, or maybe another entrance somewhere in the woods.
Lars have a wife?
Not that you know of.
Did he have
Never
any,
mentioned a wife or any children or anything.
Did he have any friends or anybody in town?
Personal friends? You're not really sure. The whole town loved him.
I say we drag his body up and bring the townsfolk out, I guess.
I mean, they don't have any weapons. Worst comes to worst, they attack us and we slaughter them for their...
Or we just go boogie boogie and run away.
They are kind of a bunch of cowardly wusses, aren't they?
They've been weakened by their lack of
Order.
No use from them. So I think we should go through. Go further.
What was that? You think you should go through the tunnel?
Yeah, go further.
How are we going to get the owlbear through? Push him?
You can go first.
Or I can go last,
The Hermes.
not hold anyone up.
Just so I don't feel like I'm cheating or rigging anything. If you go first, if Hermes goes first and you encounter something, there is no way the rest of you will be able to attack around him.
Yeah,
There isn't enough tunnel space.
Well, everybody else
Okay.
survives, so
That's true. He'll absorb all the damage from whatever it is.
sacrificial owlbear.
I feel like I'm wiser than that.
You'd be a very impressive shield. You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
It may not hurt to ask the townsfolk if they know of any other entrances. No, the desk. So you said there's a hole in it. Looked like something broke into it, or does it looks like it was cut?
It looks like it was cut, maybe burned away. Like if you look real carefully at the hole on the side of the desk in the back, the edges of that are black, and the rest of the desk is dark brown. Maybe it was burnt, but there's no smell or anything.
So piecing this together, it looks like somebody came up through the tunnels, cut the hole, possibly took out the coin, and rigged a trap to kill Lars when he opened it up the next time he was down here. That's pretty much what I'm taking away from this.
And this is the part where I can't say anything.
I don't disagree with your... my only thought is it seems like and this is just me, seems like some connection between what's happening in the forest and what's happening here. So another area of exploration would be to go out toward the forest to where the twig blights or whatever they are came from.
But he said that he's heard scratching coming from underneath. What's the light source in this room?
There are 2 little pits on the floor like torch sconces, but the ground model that currently have torches in them that are not lit. But aside from that, there is no light source in this room.
Oh, okay. Can I light one of them real quickly?
Oh yeah, it lights without any problems, right? It doesn't sputter.
I kind of just go up to the entrance of this and kind of hold the torch over. Do I see footprints or anything on the ground?
In the tunnel?
Yeah.
You don't see any footprints, but you wouldn't because there's no dirt or mud or anything in the tunnel. But you do pick up this tiny little smell, just barely, of burning wood.
Burning wood.
Part of the reason we should get the townsfolk is because I don't know what you guys have for equipment, but we don't really have. I don't have torches or anything like that. I do have a way of creating
I have a torch now.
They have something that can help us on our journey, and at least they know where we're headed.
Yeah, we might need to stock up.
Hey, back off into that
I
hole.
have a shovel.
I feel like that shovel's going to do a lot of work.
I had a hammer and chisel when I was a dwarf fighter. But,
I traded them in for a portable
owlbear
shovel.
here to chip away at the tunnel, make it
I
bigger.
have a lantern, a hooded lantern.
I have a coarse
Me
rack.
too.
So, and a noisemaker. I got that.
Nice.
Noisemaker too. What the heck is that?
So a noisemaker, noisemaker's kind of
That's kind of
that's a maraca. Yeah. Somebody sent me a thing the other day. They said, "Hey, you ever think that a coffin turns a human body basically into a maraca?" I said, "No, I had not thought of that, and you're a creep." So no, that's weird. So mankind has pumped out all kinds of noisemakers over the thousands of years we've been making things, right? But in this one, I kind of pictured a noisemaker as a little box, and you kind of push it, and it, like mixing and jumping beans in a jar, right? That kind of thing. You kind of push the button, and it and kibbies and kicks. You ever see a what do they call those? A pressure cooker? When it's in the middle of cooking something and it kind of kicks and dances on the stove.
Yeah.
I kind of pictured it like that. It's reusable, so it kicks for 5 minutes, and when it stops kicking, you go pick it up and you push the button again. About the size of a human fist.
What if we tossed a noisemaker down this tunnel?
Yeah, I think so.
See if
You
anything
could do that.
come and look.
yeah.
So I take my noisemaker and I wind it up, or
Nice.
how it operates, and
I like the idea of a wind-up key. That's cool.
and I huck it down to the fork.
Okay.
Figure I can get it that far.
What is your strength score? You can totally roll the 30 feet, but I didn't know if you wanted to try and throw it farther than that.
If it goes into a fork,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll try and throw it farther.
Sure.
I don't have any bonus for that. Well, actually, that's not right. I get a strength proficiency, so I'm at 12, or at
Nice.
plus 2.
Right.
Okay, and so I'm throwing this die out. This is
What'd you roll? I assume it wasn't good, but
I am literally rolling 3s and 6s like every time I roll a die, and I have several 20-sided dice to choose from. That's something better. Anyways, I fail at that. It just goes.
so you hurl it down the tunnel and you feel good. You feel like it's gonna vanish, and it doesn't. It kind of rolls and rolls, just kind of sputters and in the stone about 30 feet down. And it kibbies and kicks and makes a bunch of noises. It rattles around in the stone tunnel. And you hear this sound almost immediately upon it kicking in the stone.
Does it sound like it's coming from deeper in the tunnels?
Definitely.
So one of my proficiencies is senses. So would that mean that I would be able to kind of hear or kind of figure out where it came from?
Yeah, sure. Let's say you kind of think about it, right? And you focus, and you have you've seen The Witcher. You have a Witcher sense moment, right? and you're confident that came from the left tunnel.
Okay.
Oh, with my headphones on, I don't know how loud I am. If I'm hurting anybody's ears, feel free to tell me.
Oh, you're good.
Sound good.
Okay, so it sounded like a grinding or a scratching, or what was it?
Somewhere in the middle, like
Interesting.
fingernails on a chalkboard. If that chalkboard was made out of metal. Yeah, it's a terrible sound. That kind of, the kind of one that makes your skin crawl all by itself.
And it's pitch black down that hallway, right?
Definitely. Without a torch or somebody's floating hammer ball of light, you won't be able to see anything.
There's no such thing as dark vision in this thing, is there?
There is. Though nobody gets it as a racial bonus because 5 Torches Deep doesn't have racial bonuses.
That's what basically what I was going with. Okay, so I don't have that.
Owlbear.
Nobody has dark vision?
Not as a racial bonus. Though owlbears aren't covered by the book. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm okay with giving Hermes dark vision. But Hermes should know that that's not all positive.
No, it's kind of negative, actually. In a daylight
So,
Oh, does that give me light sensitivity as well?
yes.
Oh.
So there on page 24. Do you not have the book? I will send you
You sent me, but I haven't thoroughly studied it.
On page 24 in that is a section on light. There are 4 levels of light that each come with their own pros and cons. And
Right.
they're the same, except they invert for somebody with dark vision. This basically means that you're better in the dark and a blithering, bumbling fool in bright light.
That makes sense.
Blinding snow off a snowbank is just going to ruin your day.
I like that trade-off. I hate dark vision in 5e.
Because there's no drawback whatsoever.
Yeah, I like the realism of this.
Does that mean we need to track down an alchemist to make the owlbear some sunglasses?
An alchemist probably is the wrong way to
bite
go.
out of my bread.
Okay.
A glaive.
I'll be healing everybody.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
And I got to roll percentile again, you said?
Yep.
Great. What is it? 52.
52.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. As you take a bite out of the bread, an idea for a spell pops into your brain.
Oh.
You see in your brain 1,000 swirling bugs tearing your enemies apart. You learn the spell Swarm just like that. It just pops into your brain.
Oh.
Nice.
You make the swarm mechanically, right? Roleplay, what it does is it conjures any a large pile like a swarm of little tiny insects. Whether they're leeches or locusts, that's really up to you. But mechanically, what it'll do is do 1d4 damage a round for d6 rounds to whoever you blast with it.
1d4 for d6 rounds.
Right. In a 15-foot area. The bugs will target your enemies if they're in that area. They're basically mindless.
Nice. Easy on the bread there, buddy.
The bread only coughs up new loot for you the one time.
Okay.
Well, we all have our hit points back. Whoever lost some.
All right. So
That's true.
Why don't we do this? So the ball of light is right there at the fork.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that it's about 30 feet from where we are to where the fork is, correct?
Yes. So is the noisemaker.
What was the noisemaker? So that sound stopped, right? The scratching.
The scratchy, screechy noise, right? It stopped
Okay.
almost as soon as it
I
began.
want
There was
to stealth up to that intersection, and then what I'm thinking,
Okay.
when I get closer to the intersection, Nameless, if you want, you can come up 15 feet and move your light and go down that left tunnel another 15 feet with the light.
Ooh, clever.
into this idea, but are we ready to rock and roll? Yeah, I guess, you know what? I'm in. Let's do it.
Well, I'm just thinking we can just look down there and see if the tunnel goes down, if it goes anywhere.
Okay, I'm in. You go first.
All right. So I'll roll stealth.
I'm not gonna have you roll for that. Nothing's detecting you, right? There's nothing to detect you, not in this room anyway.
So
Okay,
I'm behind him 15 feet, and then I push my light another
right.
down.
So the two of you, 15 feet apart, do a little ding, 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 right? And you throw the ball of light down.
Don't fart.
And Jason sees, Nordir sees at the edge of the light, another 15 feet down, these two enormous looking, you can't even believe they fit in the tunnel, two giant green eyes glaring back at you, and that sound comes out again. And we should stop, and I'll see you guys next week. Seriously, it's been 3 hours, and I think that's a great stopping point.
That is. Oh, hold on, green eyes. So giant green eyes. So it looks like they're taking up the whole hallway.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you'd have known any better, they were somehow taking up more than the whole hallway.
So the hallway going straight, or is it going down, or what is it doing?
The one. So this is the hallway to the left, right? The one that and you can see on the very edges of the torchlight that it opens up a little bit. You're not really sure how much. The ball of light would have to go further down, but it definitely goes from at least a tunnel to a larger tunnel, if not just a room of some kind.
And all I see in this dim light are the eyes.
Oh,
Two eyes, each of which is at least as big as you are.
Ooh, fun. Ooh.
Okay, dokie.
I'm glad I didn't go in that tunnel.
I'm glad I have a meat shield between me and the eyeballs.
I think I'm the third one.
All right, I'm rolling a warrior next, guys.
I'll see you guys next week. Let's touch base in the chat after. Nice meeting you all and playing in a more than just phase zero-y kind of way.
That was
Yeah.
fun, guys.
Good.
You too.
Thanks a lot.
All right, awesome.
Nice.
All right, take care. Have a good night.
Morning. Good morning.
For some of you.
Yeah, right. It's morning for some of us.
Oh, yeah. Good morning to you too.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Wow.
Okay.